Really some story that broke today. The authorities are calling it the largest college admissions scam ever, prosecuted by the Department of Justice. The actress, Felicity Huffman, and the actress Lori Loughlin are among those involved. There are 50 people or thereabouts indicted: CEOs, actors and actresses, coaches, college exam administrators, you name it, all charged in a nationwide cheating scandal. It involved wealthy individuals paying up to $6.5 million to place their children into elite universities. The judge joins us, Andrew Napolitano, Fox News senior judicial analyst. It's kind of, I don't know, unique, but different than what we've seen in the past, because part of it was just paying someone to take a test for you, which I guess we have seen, obviously a crime. But in other cases, you have bribes paid to coaches. So they take a slot for an athlete, and the person paying the bribe, or the parent, they don't even have an athlete, so someone doesn't pay the sport. What do you make of all this?
It's a serious crime because it's use of the mails and interstate wires to offer a fraudulent document. This is a picture of my child playing soccer. It's the child's head, but somebody else's
the child
body.
doesn't even play soccer.
Here's my child's application. She got an 800 on the SAT score in literature. That's a perfect score, whereas in reality, she got something far less than that. So the evidence seems overwhelming. I was reading it this afternoon. There are emails, there are texts, and there are phone conversations. This is a massive conspiracy, but it's one of those conspiracies where not everybody knew each other. So the guy in the middle, think of it as a bicycle wheel. The guy in the middle is the hub, and you have all these spokes going out. He knows everybody, but all the other conspirators don't know each other.
And in
some of the children, no doubt, not children anymore, no doubt didn't know what their parents had done to get them in school. So
and
they're
the schools also, in many cases, are saying at least, and I would think it's believable, maybe the schools didn't know. So if you bribe a coach, at Yale, this is an example that's in the indictment. There's a soccer coach who's now resigned, I guess we know why, at Yale, women's soccer coach. They give him a $400,000 bribe. He gets a girl in to be on his team who doesn't even play soccer. But the school's just going to claim, hey, we didn't know about this. We thought this was one of his recruits.
Well, guess
should
what?
They have known?
Yes. The school has a duty to know the integrity involved or the absence thereof in the admission of students.
That's the next step in all this.
Correct. How about these kids that have graduated and some have gone to law school and medical school? Are their undergraduate degrees defective?
What if they didn't know, though? Does it matter?
I doubt that anyone will harm a hair on the head of the students who were innocent in all this. And in fact, the government has chosen, as far as I can tell, one of the documents is 300 pages long. The government has not indicted any of the students. They've indicted the people who received the money and the people who paid the money.
I have one other question. We have one other topic. One other question on this. What if a student didn't get in? Say in that Yale example.
Because they were bumped by somebody whose parents
There's only a certain amount of slots, and the student says, well, the coach told me in an email that I was good enough to be on the team, but he didn't have any slots left. Do they have any recourse?
They might. It would depend on where they went to school and whether they prospered nevertheless and what the difference would have been. So it's a difficult case, difficult case to prove. I didn't get into Yale, but I got into Harvard. What are your damages? Waiting for Melissa to comment.
Melissa's she's happy that Harvard wasn't involved in this. And, and where I went at Fordham, we didn't even have the motivation to get involved. Now, I did want to ask you.
Well, there is a Jesuit school involved, Georgetown.
Georgetown, I saw that.
Bitter and arch rival.
I saw that. Well, I want to ask you about Elon Musk before we let you go, because that case is also pending. In fact, there was just a development. A judge just granted the SEC permission to file a brief responding to Elon Musk. Reuters reported on that, all about whether or not he should be held in contempt for a tweet. He's supposed to get his tweets approved and apparently did not. So.
If he is going to argue, as his lawyers did in part in the documents they filed yesterday, that he has a First Amendment right to say whatever he wants. He doesn't, because he gave that right up when he entered into a consent decree with the SEC over the comments that he made last year.
Well, one of the arguments I think he may make is that it wasn't a material statement. In other words, it wouldn't have necessarily affected the stock because similar statements were made in the company's earnings report. Is that legit?
No. Well, it's legit to make that argument, but I think he's going to lose. And I would have advised against making those arguments. I would have advised a mea culpa, and I won't do it again. But Elon Musk is Elon Musk. I mean, I have a lot of admiration for him because he bucks the system and he's so successful. This time he's going to get his fingers burned, which means a fine and more restraints in him. Not jail time, but a fine and more restraints as to what he's allowed to say publicly.
All right.